She accidentally called the Vampire King by his true name from 1,000 years ago. He hadn't told anyone. The entire throne room went silent, every immortal eye turning to stare at the trembling librarian who'd just spoken a name that shouldn't exist anymore. What she didn't realize was that the lonely king who'd forgotten himself over centuries of existence would move heaven and earth to understand how she knew him, how she'd seen the person he used to be before time erased him. The ancient manuscript was heavier than it looked. Dr. Emma Chen struggled with the leather-bound tome, its pages brittle with age, as she navigated the marble corridors of the Eternal Court. 3 days working in the Vampire King's private library, and she still wasn't used to the weight of immortal eyes following her every movement. She'd taken this contract out of desperation. Her university position had been eliminated. Her research grants had dried up. When the letter arrived offering obscene amounts of money to catalog and translate an ancient library, she'd accepted before reading the fine print. The library belonged to King Lucian Ashford, oldest living vampire in the Western Territories. The job required residing in his fortress for 6 months. No outside contact. No leaving the grounds. Complete dedication to the work. Emma had agreed because she had no other options. Now, carrying a manuscript written in a dead language nobody had spoken in a millennium, she wondered if she'd made a terrible mistake. The throne room doors were open. She could see inside to where King Lucian held court. He sat on a throne of black marble and silver, wearing modern clothing that somehow looked ancient on him. Black suit. No tie. Dark hair pulled back. His face was beautiful in the way marble statues were beautiful. Perfect. Cold. Utterly inhuman. Around him, his court conducted business, vampires in expensive clothing discussing territory disputes, trade agreements, political alliances. Their voices were cultured and careful, every word measured, every gesture controlled. Emma had been instructed to bring manuscripts directly to the king for verification before cataloging. She approached the throne room slowly, clutching the heavy book. A court attendant, a vampire woman in a sleek gray suit, intercepted her. "You're the translator," she said. It wasn't a question. "Yes," Emma replied. "I need the king to verify this manuscript's authenticity before I continue working on it." The attendant's eyes flickered to the book. "What language?" "I'm not certain," Emma admitted. "It's Proto-Germanic but older. Pre-Runic. Possibly 1st or 2nd century. The writing system doesn't match anything in the historical record." The attendant's expression didn't change, but something shifted in her posture. "Wait here." She glided away, spoke quietly to the king. Emma watched Lucian's head turn slightly. His eyes, dark and fathomless, found her across the room. He gestured once. The attendant returned. "The king will see you now." Approached the throne. Emma's hands were sweating. She crossed the vast room, aware of every vampire watching her. She was the only human present, the only warm beating heart in a room full of immortal predators. She stopped 3 paces from the throne and bowed slightly, the way she'd been instructed. "Your Majesty," she said. "I found this manuscript in the Eastern Archive. The language is extremely old. I wanted to verify its authenticity before proceeding with translation." Lucian studied her with an intensity that made her skin prickle. "Show me." Emma approached closer, holding out the book. Lucian took it from her hands. His fingers brushed hers. Ice cold. He opened the manuscript carefully, scanning the ancient text. His expression remained perfectly neutral, but Emma noticed his fingers tighten slightly on the pages. "This is," he paused, "very old. Can you read it?" Emma nodded. "Some of it. The language is archaic, but I've been studying Proto-Germanic dialects for 15 years. I can make out maybe 60%. What does it say?" Lucian's voice was soft, but it carried through the silent room. Emma pulled out her notebook. "It appears to be a historical record. A chronicle of a king or chieftain. The writer describes battles, alliances, the founding of a settlement. There's a section about..." She hesitated. "About what?" "About transformation," Emma said carefully. About a king who was changed, who became something else, who lived while everyone he knew died, who watched centuries pass until he forgot who he'd been before. The throne room was absolutely silent. Lucian stared at the manuscript as if it might bite him. "Read it," he said quietly, aloud. In the original language. Emma swallowed. "Your Majesty, I'm not sure my pronunciation." "Read it," Lucian repeated. His voice held an edge now. "Please." Emma opened her notebook where she'd been transcribing. She began to read, pronouncing the ancient words as best she could. Her voice echoed in the silent throne room, speaking a language dead for 1,000 years. She read about a warrior king, about battles won and lost, about a terrible choice made in desperation, about transformation and immortality and the slow erosion of self across endless time. And then she reached a passage that made her pause. "What is it?" Lucian asked. "This part," Emma said. It's a name. The king's name before transformation. His true name. His." She stopped, suddenly aware of every vampire in the room watching her. "Speak it," Lucian said. His knuckles were white on the throne's arms. Emma took a breath and pronounced the ancient name carefully. Alaric Wolfsong, son of the Wolf clan. King of the eternal winter. The effect was immediate. Lucian's eyes went wide. The manuscript fell from his hands, hitting the marble floor with a sound like thunder. He stood abruptly, his controlled composure shattering. Around the room, vampires exchanged shocked glances. "How?" Lucian's voice cracked. "How do you know that name?" It's in the manuscript," Emma stammered. "The Chronicle. It describes." "No one knows that name," Lucian interrupted. He descended from the throne, moving toward her with inhuman speed. "I haven't spoken it in 900 years. I haven't heard it in longer. That name died with everyone who knew me." "How? How do you know it?" Emma backed up a step. "I just read it. It's written here." "Show me," Lucian demanded. Emma retrieved the fallen manuscript with shaking hands. She pointed to the passage. "Here. See? These characters spell Alaric, and these mean wolf song or wolf singer. It's your name." "It's my name," Lucian whispered. He stared at the ancient text as if seeing a ghost. "That was my name. Before I forgot." His eyes lifted to Emma's. "Who are you?" "Just a translator," Emma said. "A historian. I study dead languages, that's all. You spoke my true name," Lucian said. "The name I was born with. The name I carried for 32 years before I was turned. The name I deliberately tried to forget because remembering who I'd been made immortality unbearable. And you just read it from a book." Emma didn't know what to say. Around them the court was in chaos. Vampires whispering urgently. The attendant who'd escorted Emma looked pale despite being undead. Lucian seemed not to notice any of it. He was staring at Emma like she'd performed a miracle. "Say it again," he said quietly. "Please, say my name." "Alaric," Emma whispered. "Alaric Wolfsong." Something in Lucian's, in Alaric's, expression cracked. For just a moment, Emma saw something ancient and wounded and desperately lonely flash across his perfect features. "I haven't been that person in so long," he said. "I made myself forget. I buried Alaric so deep I thought he was gone forever. But hearing you say it," his voice broke. "Hearing someone call me by the name my mother gave me. I remember." "What do you remember?" Emma asked gently. Alaric sank back onto his throne. He looked lost, vulnerable, nothing like the controlled vampire king who'd been conducting court moments ago. "Everything," he whispered. "Snow, the smell of pine forests, my sister's laugh, My father teaching me to fight. The weight of a sword. The taste of mead. Being warm. Being alive. Being Alaric. He looked at Emma with desperate intensity. How much of my story is in that book? I don't know, Emma admitted. I've only translated the first 20 pages. But if this is your chronicle, if someone recorded your life, there might be more. I need to know, Alaric said. Everything. Who I was. What I cared about. Who I loved. What I lost. I've spent 900 years being Lucian Ashford. Cold. Controlled. Efficient. I barely remember being Alaric Wolfsong. But I want to. I need to. Will you help me? Emma looked at the ancient manuscript, at the vampire king who'd forgotten himself, at the court full of immortals watching this moment of unprecedented vulnerability. This was not what she'd signed up for. This was dangerous and complicated and absolutely insane. Yes, she said. I'll help you remember who you were. Alaric's eyes closed briefly. When they opened, they were bright with something that might have been tears if vampires could cry. Thank you, he said. Then, quieter, thank you, Emma. The court session ended abruptly. Alaric dismissed everyone with a wave of his hand. Vampires filed out, still whispering among themselves. The attendant lingered. Your Majesty, she said carefully. Perhaps we should discuss. Not now, Celeste, Alaric interrupted gently. Please. I need a moment. The attendant, Celeste, looked at Emma with something between concern and warning. Then she left. Emma and Alaric were alone in the vast throne room. I should explain, Alaric said. About true names. In vampire culture, true names have power, Emma said. I've read about it. The name you were born with. The name tied to your mortal soul. Knowing it gives influence over you. Exactly, Alaric confirmed. Which is why we hide them. Bury them. Forget them if we can. It's safer. But it also means you lose yourself, Emma finished. You become immortal, but you forget who you're being immortal as. Yes, Alaric said simply. He looked at her. You're the first person in centuries who knows my true name. That makes you dangerous. Or precious. I'm not sure which. Maybe both, Emma suggested. Maybe both, Alaric agreed. He stood. Come, bring the manuscript. We have 1,000 years to excavate. I want to know who I was before I forgot how to be human. Would you risk everything for a love that transcends time itself? Tell me in the comments, do you believe in destiny? The library was unlike anything Emma had ever seen. It sprawled across 3 floors of the fortress's eastern wing, with floor-to-ceiling shelves containing texts from every era. Some books were bound in leather, others in materials she couldn't identify. Some glowed faintly with residual magic. Alaric led her to a private reading room. Windows showed a courtyard garden where night-blooming flowers released perfume into the darkness. He'd changed out of his formal clothing into something simpler. Black shirt. Dark trousers. He looked younger somehow, less like an ancient king and more like a man. Sit. He gestured to a leather chair near the fireplace. Tell me what you know about my life. Emma opened the manuscript carefully. I've only translated portions, but from what I can piece together, you were born around 1023 AD in what's now northern Germany. Your clan controlled territory along the Baltic coast. You became chieftain at 19 when your father died. I was 20. Alaric corrected quietly. My father was killed in a border raid. I wasn't ready, but I had no choice. Emma made a note. You're remembering. Fragments, Alaric said. Your voice speaking that ancient language. It's unlocking things. Please continue. You ruled for 12 years, Emma said. The chronicle describes you as a fair leader. Strong warrior. You had a sister. Greta, Alaric whispered. Her name was Greta. She was 3 years younger than me. She used to braid flowers into her hair and tell me I took everything too seriously. She was right. I did. Emma felt her throat tighten. The chronicle mentions her death, plague. Winter of 1055. The same plague that was killing everyone. Alaric's hands clenched. I watched half my people die. Watched my sister burn with fever. I was desperate. When the stranger came offering salvation, offering immortality, I didn't think. I accepted. The stranger was a vampire, Emma said. An ancient one. He turned you. He said I could live forever, Alaric said, become strong enough to protect everyone I loved. What he didn't mention was that I'd become the thing I was protecting them from. That I'd have to watch them age and die anyway. That immortality just meant being alone longer. Emma read from the manuscript. The chronicle says you tried to rule as a vampire at first. Tried to protect your people. But they feared me, Alaric finished. Rightfully, I wasn't their king anymore. I was a monster wearing his face. So I left. Disappeared. Let them think I died. Started over somewhere else as someone else. And you've been starting over ever since, Emma said gently. New names, new identities. Every few decades you become someone different, until you forget who you started as. Alaric moved to the window, stared out at the night garden. Do you know what it's like to live 1,000 years? To watch empires rise and fall? Languages evolve and die? Everything you knew become ancient history. You start erasing yourself because remembering hurts too much. You become cold because caring means endless grief. You forget your name because hearing it reminds you of everyone who used to say it who's gone now. I can't imagine, Emma said honestly. No, Alaric agreed. You can't. But maybe you can help me remember anyway. What else does the chronicle say? Emma spent the next hours reading and translating. The manuscript was detailed, written by someone who'd known Alaric well, perhaps a scholar or skald in his court. It described his childhood, his training, his relationships, his fears and hopes, his mistakes and triumphs. It described a man, not a monster. Alaric listened with absolute focus. Sometimes he'd interrupt with a memory the text triggered. Other times he'd sit silently, tears he couldn't shed visible in his eyes. There's a section here about your mother, Emma said carefully. Do you want to hear it? Please, Alaric whispered. Emma read about a woman named Astrid. Strong, wise. A healer who'd taught her son that true strength came from protecting the weak, who died when Alaric was 16, making him promise to care for his sister. I broke that promise, Alaric said. Greta died while I was already immortal. I could have turned her, saved her. But I couldn't. Couldn't condemn her to this existence. So I let her go. Emma set the manuscript down. You honored your humanity by not forcing immortality on her. That took strength. It took cowardice, Alaric countered. I was afraid. Afraid of being alone forever, but more afraid of making her a monster like me. You're not a monster, Emma said firmly. Monsters don't spend 1,000 years ruling fairly. Don't maintain libraries. Don't show vulnerability when hearing their true name. You're just someone who's been alive so long, you forgot how to feel alive. Alaric looked at her. Really looked. For a librarian, you're remarkably insightful about immortal psychology. For an immortal, you're remarkably willing to be vulnerable with a stranger, Emma countered. Alaric smiled slightly, his first real smile she'd seen. You're not a stranger. You know my true name. That makes you. What? Emma asked. I don't know yet, Alaric admitted. But something important. A knock interrupted them. Celeste entered, her expression troubled. Your Majesty, there's been. She paused, looking at Emma. It's court business. I can leave, Emma offered. No, Alaric said. Stay. Celeste, whatever it is, say it. You might want privacy, Celeste insisted. I might want a lot of things, Alaric replied. Privacy isn't one of them. What's wrong? The court is unsettled, Celeste said carefully. Word has spread about the true name incident. Many are concerned. Concerned that I showed weakness? Alaric asked. Yes, Celeste admitted. They're questioning whether I'm fit to rule if I can be undone by a single human knowing my birth name? Alaric's voice held an edge. Celeste didn't flinch. Some are saying exactly that. Alaric was quiet for a long moment. Then he stood. Summon the council. Tomorrow evening. We're going to have a conversation about identity and power and what it means to rule. As you wish, Celeste said. She left, but not before giving Emma another warning look. She thinks I'm dangerous to you, Emma observed. Are you? Alaric asked. I don't know, Emma said honestly. I know your true name now. In theory, that gives me power over you. In vampire lore. In practice, Alaric interrupted, it gives you the ability to hurt me in ways no physical weapon could. You could weaponize my identity, use my past against me, destroy the persona I've built over centuries. Will you? No, Emma said immediately. Of course not. Why not? Alaric asked. The question seemed genuine. Because, Emma searched for words. Because I'm a historian. I believe that knowing the past, knowing who people really were, that's valuable. Not as a weapon. As truth, as understanding. You're seeking to understand me, Alaric said, not control me. Exactly, Emma confirmed. Alaric sat back down, picked up the manuscript, then keep reading. Help me understand myself. I've been Lucian Ashford for 200 years. Before that, I was Nathaniel Gray. Before that, Marcus Frost. Before that, a dozen other names. But I was Alaric Wolfsong first. For 32 years, I was him. And I want to remember what that felt like. Emma continued reading through the night. Vampires didn't sleep, so Alaric had forgotten that humans needed rest. When Emma's eyes started drooping over the text, he noticed. You're exhausted, he said. I apologize. I forgot. It's fine, Emma protested, but she was swaying. It's not fine, Alaric said gently. You need sleep. We can continue tomorrow. Your room is prepared in the West Wing. Celeste will show you. But there's so much more to translate, Emma said. And it will still be here tomorrow, Alaric replied. And the day after, and the century after if needed. I've waited 900 years to remember who I was. I can wait another day. Emma stood reluctantly. She gathered her notes. Before she left, she turned back. Alaric? Yes? Thank you for trusting me with this, with your name, with your past. Thank you for seeing something worth remembering, Alaric replied. Most people look at me and see a king, or a monster, or an ancient vampire. You looked at me and saw Alaric. You saw a person I'd forgotten existed. That's a gift. Emma smiled. Sleep well, she said. Then paused. Do vampires say that to each other? We say rest well, Alaric said. Sleep is for humans. Dreams are for those who still remember how to hope. Do you hope? Emma asked. I didn't, Alaric said quietly. Until today, until someone spoke my name, and I remembered that I used to be a person who hoped for things. Now I think I might be learning how again. Good, Emma said. Everyone should hope for something. Even immortals, especially immortals, Alaric agreed. Rest well, Emma-chan. I'll see you tomorrow evening. Emma left the library. Alaric remained in the reading room holding the manuscript. For the first time in 900 years, he whispered his own name. Alaric Wolfsong. The syllables felt foreign, ancient, but also right, also true. Also like coming home after being lost for a very, very long time. Emma woke to late afternoon sunlight streaming through silk curtains. For a moment, She forgot where she was. Then memory returned. Vampire fortress. Ancient manuscript. A king who'd forgotten his own name. She showered and dressed quickly. A servant, human this time, brought food. Fresh bread. Fruit. Coffee. A note in elegant script. The king requests your presence in the library at sunset. Translation work awaits. Emma ate, reviewing her notes from the previous night. She'd transcribed 30 pages of the chronicle. There were at least 200 more to go. Months of work. Maybe years. Sunset came quickly. Emma made her way to the library, now familiar with the fortress's labyrinthine corridors. She found Alaric waiting in the reading room. But he wasn't alone. A young girl sat in one of the leather chairs. She looked about 12, with dark hair and eyes that were slightly too old for her young face. A vampire child. Rare and unsettling in the way all frozen children were. Emma, Alaric said, I'd like you to meet Lily. He paused. She's my ward. Lily studied Emma with frank curiosity. You're the one who knows his real name. Emma blinked. News travels fast. Vampires gossip like teenagers, Lily said. It's because we have forever to fill with drama. She's not wrong, Alaric admitted. He looked at Lily gently. I've asked Lily to join us. She should understand what we're doing. Why? Lily asked bluntly. You've been Lucian as long as I've known you. Why does it matter what your name was 1,000 years ago? Because, Alaric said carefully, I've realized I've been so focused on surviving that I forgot about living. I forgot about being a person instead of just existing. Just getting through another century, just ruling efficiently. But that's not enough anymore. Lily's expression was unreadable. You've seemed sad, she said quietly. For a long time. Even when you smile. Like you're here, but not really here. That's very perceptive, Alaric said. I have been sad. For centuries. And I think it's because I erased who I was. I thought forgetting would make immortality easier, but it just made me hollow. So what does this, Lily gestured at the manuscript, do? Hopefully, Alaric said. It reminds me how to be Alaric again, how to be someone who feels things. Who cares? Who's more than just an ancient vampire going through the motions? Lily considered this, then turned to Emma. Will it work? Emma chose her words carefully. I think remembering who you were helps you understand who you are now. History isn't just facts. It's context. Understanding. If your guardian can remember who he used to be, maybe he can integrate that with who he's become. Maybe he can be both, ancient and human. Immortal and alive. Lily nodded slowly. Okay. Then I want to help. I want to know who he was too, so I can understand who he is now. Alaric looked touched. You don't have to. I want to, Lily insisted. You took me in when no one else would, when I was newly turned and terrified. You've been teaching me how to exist as a vampire. Maybe I can help you remember how to exist as a person. Deal, Alaric said softly. Emma felt warmth in her chest. This was more than translation work. This was family, broken and strange and assembled from impossible circumstances, but family nonetheless. She opened the manuscript. Let's continue. The next section of the chronicle described Alaric's relationships, his childhood friend and rival, Eric. His first love, a girl named Sigrid who'd married someone else when Alaric became chieftain. His bond with his warband. His responsibility to his people. Alaric listened, occasionally offering remembered fragments. Lily listened with fascination, learning about a version of her guardian she'd never known. Hours passed. The work was slow, painstaking. Emma would translate a passage, explain context, discuss historical background. Alaric would process, remember, sometimes correct details the chronicle got wrong. Lily would ask questions, drawing connections between past and present. During a break, Lily said something that made Alaric go very still. You were loved. What? Alaric asked. In all these stories, Lily said, everyone loved you. Your mother, your sister, your friends, your people. You weren't just a king. You were someone people chose to love. And then you became immortal and spent 1,000 years making sure no one could love you again because losing them hurt too much. Silence filled the room. Alaric's voice was rough. That's accurate. But sad, Lily said. Because, and I know I'm only 73 years old, so what do I know? But I think being loved is worth the pain of losing them. Otherwise, what's the point of immortality? Just existing forever alone? That sounds like hell. You're 73 going on 1,000, Alaric said with a sad smile. When did you become so wise? When you taught me that being a vampire doesn't mean being a monster, Lily replied. That we can choose to care about things even if they don't last forever. That temporary doesn't mean worthless. I learned that from you. Even if you forgot you knew it. Emma watched this exchange, understanding dawning. Alaric had been teaching Lily the lessons he'd forgotten for himself. I think, Emma said carefully, that's what makes you a good king, not power or immortality, but the fact that you remember how to care, even when you think you've forgotten, even when you try to be cold. You keep choosing compassion. That's the part of Alaric that survived 1,000 years, the part that's still human. Alaric looked between Emma and Lily. Two people who saw him. Really saw him. Not just the ancient vampire king, but the person underneath. I don't deserve, he started. Yes, you do, Lily interrupted. Stop saying you don't deserve things. You deserve to remember who you were. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to be loved. Just because you're immortal doesn't mean you have to be miserable. Alaric's composure cracked. He turned away, shoulders shaking. Lily immediately moved to his side. Emma hesitated, then joined them. They stood together. An ancient vampire, a vampire child, and a human historian. A family assembled from grief and loneliness, and the desperate need to be seen. I'm sorry, Alaric said eventually. I haven't let myself feel this much in centuries. It's overwhelming. That's okay, Lily said firmly. Feel it. You're always telling me emotions don't make us weak, they make us alive. Practice what you preach. Alaric laughed. It came out choked but genuine. You're absolutely right. He straightened, wiped his eyes, turned back to them. Thank you, both of you, for seeing something in me worth excavating. We've barely started, Emma said. There's 200 more pages of chronicle, and I suspect there are other manuscripts, other records. Your whole life before transformation. Do you want to keep going? Yes, Alaric said. Absolutely yes. Then let's continue, Emma said. She opened the manuscript to the next section, but before she read, Alaric stopped her. Emma, he said, I need to ask, what you're doing, it's far beyond the translation work I hired you for. This is personal. Intimate. You're helping me reconstruct my identity. Why? You could just do the job and leave. Why invest this much? Emma thought about her answer carefully. Because, she said finally, I became a historian, because I believe the past matters. I believe knowing who people really were, understanding their full context, that's how we honor them. You're not dead. You're here. But you've been treating yourself like you died 1,000 years ago. Like Alaric is just history to be forgotten. But he's not. He's still you, and everyone deserves to know their own story. Everyone deserves to remember who they were before the world changed them. Alaric studied her. You're remarkable, you know that? I'm just a historian, Emma protested. No, Alaric said. You're someone who sees value in excavating difficult truths, who treats people, even immortal ones, with compassion, who believes that remembering is worth the pain. That's rare, that's precious. Emma felt heat rise to her cheeks. I'm just doing what feels right. Then you have excellent instincts, Alaric said. He settled back into his chair. Please, Continue. Help me remember who I was so I can figure out who I want to be. Emma read on into the night. The council meeting happened the following evening in the Great Hall. Emma had been invited to attend, though Alaric gave her the option to decline. I should be there, she said. If the court is questioning your judgment because of me, I should face that. You don't owe them anything, Alaric said. You're human. They have no authority over you. But you're my friend, Emma replied, and friends show up when things get difficult. Alaric's expression softened. Friend? Yes. I suppose you are. Is that all right? Emma asked. I know, I'm just the hired translator. You're not just anything, Alaric said firmly. You're the person who gave me back my name, who's helping me remember who I was, who treats me like a person instead of a king or monster. That makes you. He paused. That makes you invaluable. The council assembled, 12 vampires, the oldest and most powerful in Lucian's territory. They ranged in age from 200 to nearly 800 years. All of them looked at Emma with varying degrees of suspicion. Alaric sat at the head of the table, composed and regal once more. But Emma could see the difference now. The cracks in his armor. The person beneath the king. Thank you for gathering, Alaric began. I understand there are concerns about recent events. I wanted to address them directly. Lord Castellan, a vampire who looked about 40 with eyes like chips of ice, spoke first. Your Majesty, with respect, you've allowed a human to learn your true name. This is unprecedented. Dangerous. She could use it against you. She could, Alaric agreed. But she won't. How can you be certain? Another council member asked, Lady Vera, who appeared as a stern woman in her 50s. Because, Alaric said, Emma Chen is a historian. Her entire purpose is preserving truth, understanding context, honoring the past. Using my name as a weapon would contradict everything she believes in. I trust her judgment. You trust a human you've known for 3 days, Lord Castellan said flatly. Yes, Alaric replied. I do. The council exchanged glances. Emma could feel their discomfort, their fear that their king was compromised. She spoke up. If I may. The council's attention snapped to her. Most vampires weren't accustomed to humans speaking unbidden. Emma pushed through her nervousness. I understand your concern. True names are sacred, powerful. But I'm not interested in power over anyone. I'm interested in understanding. The king has spent 1,000 years forgetting who he was, because remembering hurt too much. I'm helping him excavate that past so he can integrate it, so he can be whole instead of fractured. That's not a threat to his rule. It's strengthening it. How is dredging up painful memories strengthening anything? Lady Vera asked. Because, Emma said, a leader who understands themselves, who's processed their trauma, who's connected to their own humanity even while being immortal, that leader makes better decisions than one who's spent centuries compartmentalizing and suppressing. The king isn't weak for remembering who he was. He's stronger for it. Lily, sitting beside Alaric, spoke up. She's right. I've known him for 70 years. I've never seen him this alive, this present. Whatever Emma's doing, it's helping. He's not falling apart. He's coming together. Lord Castellan was unmoved. Sentiment is admirable. But it doesn't change facts. The human knows his true name. She has power over him whether she intends to use it or not. What happens when she leaves in 6 months? When the contract ends? We're supposed to trust she'll keep this secret forever? Emma felt Alaric tense beside her. She realized what the council was implying. They wanted her silenced. Permanently. That's enough, Alaric said. His voice was quiet but carried absolute authority. Emma Chen is under my protection. She will complete her translation work. She will leave when her contract ends if she chooses. And she will carry my true name with her into whatever life she lives next. No one will threaten her. No one will harm her. Is that understood? The council members shifted uncomfortably. Your Majesty, Lord Castellan tried. I said, is that understood? Alaric's eyes flashed. The temperature in the room dropped. Every vampire at the table bowed their heads in submission. Understood, they murmured. Good, Alaric said. Now let me be clear about something else. I hired Emma to translate my library. In the process, she discovered my chronicle. She spoke my true name because it was written in a text she was paid to read. This wasn't espionage. It wasn't manipulation. It was. He paused. It was fate. Or luck. Or divine intervention. I don't know, but I know that hearing my name again, remembering who I was before 9 centuries of immortality hardened me. That's the most important thing that's happened to me in longer than most of you have been alive. He looked at each council member in turn. I've ruled you fairly, justly. For how long? 200 years? 300? Have I ever given you reason to doubt my judgment? No, Your Majesty, several council members said. Then don't start now, Alaric said. Trust that I know what I'm doing. Trust that remembering my humanity makes me a better king, not a weaker one. And trust that Emma Chen is exactly what I claimed. A friend. An ally. Someone who sees value in the person I was before I became this. He gestured at himself. Silence filled the hall. Finally, Lady Vera spoke. Your Majesty, she said carefully. We don't doubt your judgment. We're concerned for your well-being. This is a vulnerability we've never seen from you. We worry. I appreciate the concern, Alaric said, his tone softening. Truly, but you needn't worry. Emma isn't making me vulnerable. She's making me whole. There's a difference. Lord Castellan studied Emma. Tell me, he said. What do you see when you look at our king? Emma chose her words carefully. I see someone who's been alive so long he forgot how to live. Someone who loved and lost so many times that he built walls to protect himself. Someone who became exactly what he needed to be to survive 1,000 years. But underneath all that, underneath the king and the vampire and the immortal, I see Alaric. A man who was loved, who loved back, who made hard choices, who carries grief like a mountain on his shoulders. And I see someone who deserves to remember that he was human once, that he's still capable of feeling human things, even now. Lord Castellan's expression shifted slightly. You care about him. As a person, not just as a subject of study. I do, Emma admitted. He's remarkable, and he's been alone for far too long. The council members exchanged looks again. This time the glances held something different. Not suspicion. Understanding. Maybe even approval. Very well, Lady Vera said. If the king trusts you, we will respect that trust. But know this, Emma Chen. If you betray him, if you use his true name against him, if you cause him harm, there will be nowhere in this world you can hide. Understood, Emma said firmly. I won't betray him. The council meeting concluded. As vampires filed out, several approached Emma, some with warnings, some with grudging respect. Lily grabbed Emma's hand. That was brave. My heart is still racing, Emma admitted. You defended him, Lily said. Even though you're human and they're ancient vampires who could kill you without effort. You stood up and defended him because you think he matters. That's really brave. Or really stupid, Emma said. Probably both, Lily agreed cheerfully. After everyone left, Alaric approached Emma. Thank you, he said quietly, for what you said, for standing with me. I meant every word, Emma replied. You do matter, and you deserve people who see that. Alaric studied her face. You're changing my life, he said. You know that? You've been here less than a week and you've changed everything. Is that good or bad? Emma asked nervously. Good, Alaric said immediately. Terrifying, but good. I've been sleepwalking through centuries. You woke me up. Now I have to figure out what to do with being awake. We'll figure it out together, Emma said. If you want help. I want help, Alaric confirmed. I want. He hesitated. I want you to stay. Beyond the 6 months. Beyond the contract. I want you to stay and help me remember everything. Help me integrate who I was with who I am. Help me become. Become what? Emma asked gently. Become whole, Alaric said. Become someone who's both Alaric and Lucian, both human and vampire, both ancient and alive. I can't do that alone. But with you, I think I might manage it. Emma's heart was pounding. This was more than a job, more than translation work. This was something profound. Okay, she said. I'll stay, as long as you need. Alaric's smile was genuine, warm, the smile of someone who'd been given an unexpected gift. Thank you, he said. Then softer, thank you, Emma. They returned to the library, to the manuscript, to the slow, painful, beautiful work of excavating a life buried under centuries of survival. But something had shifted. This wasn't just historical research anymore. This was connection, understanding. Two people, one mortal and one immortal, building something neither could name but both desperately needed. Outside the reading room, Lily watched them work together. She smiled. Her guardian was finally coming back to himself. And it was all because a historian had accidentally spoken his name and reminded him he used to be a person. Sometimes, Lily thought, the best things happen by accident. 3 weeks into the translation work, Emma discovered something that changed everything. She was working through a section of the Chronicle describing Alaric's transformation. The actual moment he became a vampire. The text was fragmented, written in a shaky hand as if the scribe had been disturbed. Emma worked late into the night, alone in the reading room. Alaric was dealing with territory disputes. Lily was with her tutors. Emma had insisted she could continue without them. The passage was difficult. The language shifted between dialects, suggesting multiple sources compiled together. Emma translated slowly, piecing together meaning. And then she read something that made her blood run cold. She read it again. Then a third time. Then she grabbed the manuscript and ran. She found Alaric in his study, reviewing reports. He looked up in surprise as she burst through the door. Emma? What's wrong? The transformation, Emma said breathlessly. The Chronicle. It describes what happened, how you were turned. I know the basics, Alaric said. A vampire elder came to my village during the plague, offered immortality. I accepted to save my people. No, Emma interrupted. That's not what happened. Alaric went very still. What do you mean? Emma opened the manuscript with shaking hand. The Chronicle says the vampire who turned you. He didn't just offer immortality. He made you a deal. A blood contract. You could become immortal, but only if you gave up your ability to love, to truly connect with others. The transformation would make you physically immortal but emotionally dead. Alaric's face went pale. That's not. He paused. Is it? Emma read the passage aloud in the ancient language, then translated. The king agreed to the dark bargain. Immortal life in exchange for immortal loneliness, the power to survive forever at the cost of never again feeling the bonds that made survival worthwhile. The stranger sealed the deal with blood and ancient magic, and Alaric Wolfsong, who had loved deeply and freely, became something that could only remember love. Never feel it again. Silence filled the study. That can't be right, Alaric said. His voice was hollow. I felt things. I care about Lily, but he stopped. Because he was remembering 900 years of emotional numbness, of going through the motions, of caring in theory but never in practice. of being alone even when surrounded by people. Emma continued reading, but the chronicle says something else. Something the vampire who turned you didn't know. The passage describes it as a loophole. What loophole? Alaric demanded. Emma's hands trembled on the pages. The contract said you couldn't love. But it didn't account for someone loving you first. Someone who saw through the immortality to the person underneath. Someone who chose to love Alaric, not Lucian. Someone who knew your true name and spoke it with affection instead of fear. If that happened, if someone broke through by seeing and naming the real you, the contract could break. You could feel again. Alaric was standing now, pacing. That's not possible. Blood contracts don't have loopholes. The magic is absolute, unless, Emma said, the vampire who made the contract was arrogant. Unless he assumed no one would ever learn your true name, that you'd bury it so deep that Alaric Wolfsong would effectively cease to exist. But I found the chronicle. I spoke your name. She stopped, realizing what she was about to say. You what? Alaric asked. His eyes were intense, desperate. I care about you, Emma whispered, not as the vampire king. Not as an ancient immortal. As Alaric. As the person who lost everything and kept going anyway. As someone who deserves to be seen and known and loved. The word hung in the air between them. Alaric stared at her. Emma, he said carefully, do you understand what you're saying? I'm saying, Emma took a breath. I'm saying that over these past weeks, getting to know who you were and who you are, I've fallen in love with you, with all of you. Alaric and Lucian, the ancient king and the grieving man, the vampire and the human he used to be. And I think maybe that's breaking the contract, because you're feeling things again, aren't you? Alaric's composure shattered. He sank into a chair, put his head in his hands. Yes, he whispered, I'm feeling everything. When you spoke my name that first time, something cracked open, and every day since it's been breaking wider. I thought I was just remembering, but it's more than that. I'm feeling things I haven't felt in 9 centuries. Fear, hope, joy, and love. He looked up at her. I love you, Emma Chen. I didn't think I was capable of it anymore. I thought that part of me died with Alaric. But you brought him back. Brought me back. And now I'm feeling everything, and it's overwhelming and terrifying and beautiful, and I don't know what to do. Emma crossed to him, knelt beside his chair. You don't have to do anything except feel it. Let yourself feel it. You've been numb for so long. Let yourself be alive again, even while being immortal. But I'm a vampire, Alaric said. You're human. You'll age. You'll die. I'll have to watch you. I'll lose you. Like I've lost everyone. Like you lost your sister, Emma said gently. Like you lost your mother and friends, and everyone you knew. But Alaric, you loved them. And that love mattered even though they died. It still matters now. The fact that I'm mortal doesn't make this worthless. I can't. Alaric's voice broke. I can't survive losing you. Not after just getting you. Not after you gave me back the ability to feel. Emma took his hands. Then we make the time we have matter. We don't waste it being afraid. We choose each other. For however long we have. Isn't that what makes love real? Choosing it even when it's temporary? Even when it's going to hurt? Alaric pulled her into his arms, held her like she might disappear. I've been alone for so long, he whispered into her hair. So lonely I forgot what connection felt like. And now you're here and I'm feeling everything and I'm terrified. I know, Emma said. I'm terrified, but I'd rather be terrified and alive with you than safe and numb without you. They stayed like that for a long moment. An immortal vampire, and a mortal human. Holding each other, choosing each other despite every logical reason not to. Finally, Alaric pulled back, looked at her face, cupped her cheek with cool fingers. "May I kiss you?" he asked. "Please," Emma whispered. The kiss was gentle, careful. Alaric's lips were cool against hers, but there was warmth underneath. Centuries of suppressed feeling pouring through. Emma felt tears on her cheeks, couldn't tell if they were hers or his. When they broke apart, Alaric was smiling. Actually smiling. Not the controlled expression of a king, but the genuine joy of a man who'd forgotten happiness was possible. "I love you," he said again, practicing the words, testing them. "I love you, Emma Chen. And I don't know what we do now, but I know I want to figure it out with you." "We continue translating," Emma said. "We keep excavating your past. We help you integrate Alaric and Lucian. We build something together, for however long we have, and we don't let fear of the future steal the present." Alaric kissed her again, less gentle this time, more certain. "Yes," he said, "yes to all of that." The door burst open. Lily stood there, eyes wide. "I felt it," she said. "The magic, something huge just broke." What happened? "The blood contract," Alaric said. "The one that made me unable to feel love. It shattered." "Because Emma knew your true name," Lily said, understanding dawning, because she loved Alaric instead of fearing Lucian. "Because she broke the curse by seeing you. This is huge. This is everything. It is." Alaric agreed. He stood, pulling Emma with him. "Lily, I need you to summon the council." "Tonight, why?" Lily asked. "Because," Alaric said, "I'm about to make some changes. Starting with officially courting Emma Chen. I want the court to understand that she's not just the translator. She's mine. And I'm hers. And anyone who has a problem with that can take it up with a vampire king who just remembered how to feel protective rage." Lily grinned. "This is going to cause so much drama. I love it." She disappeared to summon the council. Alaric turned back to Emma. "You're sure about this?" he asked. "About being with me? About dealing with vampire politics and immortal drama, and everything that comes with loving someone who'll outlive you by centuries?" "I'm sure," Emma said. "I'm absolutely terrified, but I'm sure." "Good," Alaric said, "because I'm terrified too. But I'd rather be terrified with you than safely alone for another 1,000 years." They had 2 hours before the council meeting. They spent it in the library, reading the Chronicle, learning more about who Alaric had been, planning who they wanted to become together. And for the first time in 900 years, Alaric felt hope. Not the abstract concept he'd been teaching Lily, but real, visceral hope. The kind that comes from loving someone and being loved back. The kind that makes even immortality feel like a gift instead of a curse. The council meeting was tense. 12 ancient vampires gathered in the Great Hall, summoned urgently, unsure what crisis warranted immediate assembly. Lord Castellan looked particularly annoyed. "Your Majesty," he said, "it's barely been 3 weeks since the last emergency council. What requires such urgency?" Alaric stood at the head of the table, Emma beside him. Lily sat in her usual place, barely suppressing a grin. "I'm making an announcement," Alaric said, "and establishing new protocols. Regarding Emma Chen." The council's attention sharpened. "Go on," Lady Vera said carefully. "Emma Chen is no longer simply my contracted translator," Alaric said. "As of tonight, she is under my personal protection as my chosen companion. I am formally courting her with the intention of a permanent bond." Silence. Then chaos. Lord Castellan stood abruptly. "You're courting a human? Your Majesty, this is unprecedented. Actually, Alaric interrupted calmly. It's not. Lord Marcus courted a human in 1632. Lady Sarah bonded with a human in 1891. Both had the council's support. Both relationships were recognized. That was different, another council member said. Those were what? Alaric asked. Not the king? Not someone as old as me? I'm aware this is unusual, but my personal life is exactly that. Personal. With respect, Lord Castellan said tightly, your personal life affects all of us. You're our king. Your choices have consequences. I'm aware, Alaric replied. Which is why I'm informing you rather than asking permission. Emma is my choice. That's not negotiable. Lady Vera studied Emma. Does the human understand what this means? Being the companion of a vampire king? I'm learning, Emma said. But yes, I understand it's complicated. Complicated doesn't begin to cover it, Lady Vera said. But not unkindly. You'll be under constant scrutiny. Subject to